Hello and welcome to the channel. Well, today's shoot is all about my Predators Day. Now, a couple of days ago I did film these guys in my living room, which is where I am at now. And looking at them, I quite like them, but then I decided to start posing one of my predators, which is this one, the feral predator. Well, of course, once you start posing one predator, you want to pose them all. So you would have seen in that review where they're situated in their poses. Well, I've posed them all again, and rather than film them on the section, I'm going to show you their individual poses and have a quick chat about them. So feral predator is the guy featured in the film Prey, and I love that film. Now, I don't know what was going on with that film Badlands, but for me they should have stuck with this guy, because if you'd have watched that film Prey, you would have seen the credits play out the whole story, and at the end of those credits you saw the arrival of another ship. So I thought that's what they were going to do, follow it on from there, but they didn't. And I love that Native American culture. I'm a big fan of that culture, and I like the idea of the woman in that film. She was a kind of the Ripley of Native American Indians. So I really thought they might stick with that story, but then they went to Badlands. Now, visually, Badlands was a good film to look at, but it wasn't a Predator film for me. So I'm going to put that on pause and show you the back of the figure. So what you're looking at now is the weapons and the medical pack on the back of this figure. And what's so good about it is that this is a magnetized body. So that weapon on the left is magnetized to the back, and so is that medipack. But that lance there, which is in non-stealth mode, is hooked onto the back. But you're seeing obviously in weapons mode when I turn the figure around. He also comes with various mandibles. At the moment he's got his mouth closed, but you got one that's opened a little bit, and then you got a full extended mandible. So I like the idea that he comes with hands. You can take off that face mask, which I'm going to show you in a sec, and that sort of bit of technology, that shield, you can get it in non-combat mode, but this is the pose I've got him in at the moment. So I'm going to just show you him without the face mask and then bring out the next Predator. And incidentally, all these Predators you are seeing today are all Necca releases. So there you go, I've removed his combat helmet, and that's what he looks like. And he's pretty accurate. If you watch the film, that's a pretty accurate head sculpt. I really like that. And the mandibles are closed at the moment. That's the jaws to the layman. But like I said, you can get them fully extended or halfway open. So we'll bring out the next one and take it on from there. So this is Jungle Predator. Now I chased this guy for the longest time, and I'm glad to have him. And he was originally played by Kevin Peter Hall, who you might know that name because he was also the original Alien, directed by Ridley Scott. And then he went on to play this guy, a film starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, Carl Weathers, should I say. I think it's Billy Duke, and a few others, Jesse Ventura. And I've got his shoulder cannon with a blast effect on. He comes with a couple of accessories, but I'm just showing you the pose he's in at the moment, and the pose that will be on the display. And I'm going to put it on pause briefly because I forgot to show you his head sculpt. And I like posing my predators with head sculpts because I think it gives a bit more personality. So I'll just put that on pause. So we're back in the room. So there's the head sculpt. And as I say, I do like posing them with their heads because I think you see a bit more personality. I don't think that's entirely movie accurate, to be honest, but at the end of the day, something is better than nothing. So that's his current pose. And you can change around the weapons with predators, which is good because he didn't come with that spear there, that lance. I've taken that off another predator. So let's bring out the next one. So this is your next one. And this is Fugitive Predator. Now I call this guy Hierarchy Predator because if you look at his armor, it's a lot more upmarket compared to the other Predators in my collection. And I like that film, The Predator. You will see the Assassin Predator later, but Hierarchy Predator stroke Fugitive Predator was trying to get some technology to the humans because there are predators on Yucha Prime who are trying to enhance their genetics using other species, and he's trying to prevent that. But that's his basic pose. And I'll just quickly show you the head sculpt. So there's your head sculpt there. Must remember to bring the head sculpts out when I review these figures. But that's pretty good, that one. That's a bit better. So there's your Fugitive Predator. So this one is known as Scout Predator. And the name is a giveaway as to what his role was. Whenever there was a hunt, he would go ahead and scout out potential prey. And basically he came from an island on Yucha Prime, in which they were a fierce race dedicated to honing their hunting skills. And basically this particular one, he earned his name being quite ruthless and earned the right to be a Yucha predator, in which he had his own status. Now on the back there you'll see that, well, it's not a medical pack because actually that's the condensed version of this rifle, but I thought I'd stick that on for effect. And his medical pack is actually down there next to his head sculpt. And people say he looks a bit like a bulldog, but at the end of the day, I quite like this guy because he got this rifle with him, and he also has the javelin and the spear type thing, but I like him with the rifle. And he has a helmet similar to Jungle Predator, which is why I like him so much. So let's bring out the next one. Now this guy, and I have covered the Predators in the past on the channel. I've had them posing out with my alien figure. You'll see that today because I've reposed him as well. But I got him for 25 quid. And for the longest time, I wasn't sure if I liked that helmet. But then I said, I do like it. But I was trying to see whether or not it actually appears in any of the films, and it does. Because if you've seen Predator 2, and I'm sure you have, when Danny Glover kills the Predator on board his alien ship, a number of predators, appear, and one of the predators that appear is exactly like this, wearing this helmet. And one of the reasons I like this Predator so much, he does come with an arm where he can hold a spear, but he can also clip this bit of technology onto his arm, which is what I like about him. So that's what I call Temple Guard Predator. And his backstory is basically he earned his ranks because he was also a maker of weapons. I do like that head sculpt. He was a maker of weapons, and eventually he earned his own rank as a hunter in his own right. So that's my Temple Guard Predator. And if wondering what that is, that's the blast effect on the right hand side that you can stick onto the shoulder cannon, but I won't show you that. So let's bring out the next one. So this guy, now as you already know if you've watched the channel, this was a Christmas present to myself, and that's a tradition of mine when it comes to Christmas. When I fancy getting a figure, I always buy it for Christmas. I know what it is, but I open it on Christmas Day. And this guy is what's known as the first hunter. And just a quick backstory with him is that he's thousands of years ahead of all the other predators. He was living in a time when his kind, the Hishkatan, were being enslaved by an alien race called the Amengi, and he led the first kind of revolution against the Amengi and overthrew them, and then became known as the first hunter, the alpha predator. And you can see that all the kind of mortal remains of the Amengi, because they have a high bone density and very sharp teeth, that he's used those things to put together a sort of body armor and facial protection. But also I reviewed this guy when I broke the lance. I'm going to show you the back of the figure and show you what I did, because I didn't want to glue it back together, because I actually thought it worked well when you had them separate. So I'm going to show you what I've done, and I'll turn the figure around and show you the back. So let's get a close-up on this. So this is the first part of this weapon, the lance, and I've hooked it onto the horns, as you can see there. And on the other side, you'll see the second part of that lance, and I've hooked it onto the horns. What I've also done is hooked his helmet on, and I think that image works well. Love his dreadlocks. I've got dreadlocks. Mine are pretty long as his, and I do like that image of him, and that was how I solved my sort of damage to the lance rather than glue it together. So I just finished this one by showing you his face. So there you go, coming close on the face. I think they describe that sort of skin as luminescent, but it is very good. And I love this figure. Trying to pick up Wolf Predator and Scar Predator. They're actually movie predators, but they're still quite pricey. But this is Alpha Predator, and he's going to be posed out with his face mask on, because all the posing you're seeing today is the actual poses I'm going to leave them in, but I've gone in a bit in depth with some of them just to show you what they're all about. So let's bring out the next one. So this is the last of my Necca predators, and before I got Alpha Predator, this was my last purchase, and he's a beast. He's the biggest of all my predators, Assassin Predator. I've reviewed him on the channel, and I'm glad you liked that review, because you I think you gave me a couple of likes, and I love that head sculpt. And he also comes in a blue wash because, as I said on the review, this is his neutral colour, but he's capable of activating his armour because he's genetically enhanced, which gives him a blue hue to his skin. But I like this look. And there's the laser cannon, which is on his gauntlet there. And you can take that off and get a covering for the gauntlet, so it's like the gun's gone into the gauntlet. That's his gesture hands. And I've got a fighting fist. He's got one claw knife attached to that gauntlet. And down there you see the other hands and that other head sculpt. And that's the head sculpt I had him in last, which I do love, like it. But this is him in full battle mode. And I do like him. Very impressive figure. Now, I've had him on foot stands and he is sturdy, but I didn't want the risk of him toppling over. So what I've done is I've got a crotch grabber off my Joker figure, and he's not going anywhere on one of them. So that's my Necca Predator, and that's the pose I've got him in. And that's how he's going to go back on the display along with all the other Predators. So I'm going to wind it up with one final figure who is related to the Predators, and have a quick chat about him. So this is the final one we're going to look at today, and of course it is the Alien, and I've got him with an accessory from my Jungle Predator, and that's how I've posed him. He's obviously killed the Predator and taken his helmet off him. And this particular Alien is based on the original movie, which was done by Ridley Scott, one of my favourite directors. In fact, my favourite Ridley Scott movie is Blade Runner, the original. But I thought Ryan Gosling did a fair job of it. But this guy was originally played also by Kevin Peter Hall. And I remember seeing it as a underaged kid back in the day and being blown away by the scene where John Hurt, who plays Kane, has his chest ripped out by this thing here, which is one of the accessories that comes with the figure, along with this egg and this face hugger. So the face hugger and the egg is actually with my Jungle Predator. I've got him looking over that egg with his shoulder cannon in blast mode. But this is the pose I've got my Alien in. He's in the living room holding that Predator helmet. And this is also a Necca release. And I've actually seen the Romulus version of the Predator Alien. Quite like it. Not bad. But today was mainly about the reposing of my Predators, and they'll go back onto the section you would have seen on the footage I shot yesterday in their new poses. And this Alien is also in my living room, but he's next to my detox cabinets. So on that note, I'll say thanks for watching the channel. Hope you enjoyed what you've seen, and I'll see you again next time.